Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, great. Evening and welcome to the meeting of the East Lampeter Township Board of Supervisors for Monday, May 8th, 2023. Joining me in the room this evening are all members of the Board of Supervisors and various staff. There are no members of the Board of Supervisors coming in remotely via Zoom. Please rise and if you would join me in saying the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. There are agendas at the back. Also a sign-in form back there. If you have to sign in, please do that. For public record. Okay. We are on to item number 3, which is public comment for non-agenda items. If you're here for an agenda item, don't need to comment at this point. If someone would like to address the board on non-agenda items, please feel free to do so.
None by chat and none by.
Okay, great, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, item number 4 is our consent agenda. Our consent agenda is made up of the Board of Supervisors agenda for this evening, May 8th, 2023. The minutes for Monday, April 17th, 2023 regular meeting. And then a number of items, invoices to pay from all of our various funds. A total of $521,876.34. Of that, there are 2 significant items that I'll mention. $19,374.60. The Lancaster Area Sewer Authority for sewer transportation charges, and $10,294.92 CDW government for police department vehicle computers. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Okay, motion by Corey, second by Ethan. Questions, concerns? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, under business, old business, excuse me, 5, old business, 5A is a request for reduction of financial security that is Warrington Devon Creek Phase 1A. Township engineer has gone out and inspected. Looks like the current balance is $404,862.24. There is a recommended reduction of $315,084 for a remaining balance of $89,778.70. There are a couple of comments on here. This is the township engineer letter of April 18th. Questions, concerns? What's your interest?
Make a motion.
Go ahead, Mike. Mike.
Motion to recommend the reduction of financial security for Warrington Devon Creek Phase 1A, subject to the April 18th Township Engineer letter, and the financial security to be reduced by $315,083.54. Remaining balance to be $89,778.70.
Okay. Motion by Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Roger. Questions?
I
Hearing.
want to make sure,
Go ahead.
on the comments on these escrow reductions. We need to address that. Assuming that assuming that they're gonna follow through with the comments.
Based on the letter, there's 4 points on the letter, Rob. Assuming that the applicant has gotten this, and they understand, holding the final $89,000 is contingent upon these items being fulfilled.
Right, those items are more of an explanation as to why we're still holding the amount that he's recommended.
Okay, so I mean, we're obviously holding that for that reason. Let's get these items done and wrapped up. So, okay, Roger, good. All right, further questions? Okay, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, 6A. A time extension for review and action, number 47 Hartman Bridge Road, stormwater management plan. Sorry, 5B. A request for reduction of financial security for Zook Yoder Esch Lot 5. Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate that. Looks like Township Engineer letter of April 27th. Current balance is $10,000. Recommended reduction is $6,205. Remaining balance is $3,795. And looks like there is a single item or note called out there on this. Your interest.
Motion to approve, Zook Esch Yoder Phase 2, Lot 5. The recommended reduction of $6,205 and the remaining balance of $3,795.
Second. Okay, motion by Roger, second by Corey. Questions? Okay, hearing none. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 6, new business. 6A, we'll go back to time extension for review and action. 47 Hartman Bridge Road Stormwater Management Plan. Looks like we have a letter here from Strausser Surveying Engineers, April 19th. Requesting for the client, Steve Byler, that they would be granting the township an additional 60 days for processing the proposed stormwater management plan. Would take us out to 60 days, takes us to when, Ralph?
July 7th.
July 7th. Okay, July 7th. Okay,
Motion to accept the 60-day time extension as presented.
motion by Ethan, there's second by Corey. Questions? Okay, hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. 6B, under new business, we have a presentation. Lancaster Archery Supply, 2195A, Old Philadelphia Pike.
Well, thank you. Good evening. My name is Dwight Yoder. I'm an attorney at Gilcraig Pass. I'm joined by Rob and Carol Caulfold and Chris Scott. I'm sure know Rob and Carol as the owners of Lancaster Archery, and Chris is the manager of their retail store and of their academy. Did I get that right? Okay. And I know that you received some information from us, a letter, and then I think we also sent in some pictures and things that I wanted to go over. But just to kind of step back and give you a big picture of why we're here. So as you know, whenever you're looking at businesses and expanding and figuring out the future, you have to look at the zoning to figure out if it's going to work. And zoning is a classic legislative decision in terms of whether you can make changes to it. So it's been my practice that before we start going too far on making a formal request for a decision that's legislative and policy driven and really up to the board to determine, it makes a lot of sense to come early on and get some sense that this is something the board would consider. I never asked the board to say that they would approve it because you don't know that. But what I do ask is if they say, over my dead body, this is never going to happen, please tell us that. Will know they need to figure out a different. essentially tonight is to give you a little sense about Lancaster Archery, what their, what their business looks like now, what they want it to look like in the future, and some of the things they've been trying to do. The reason we're here tonight is to look at the possibility of expanding our location. So that was kind of summarized, but just a little bit, and Robin, you guys have been, where anything, but this is one of those businesses that, is a staple in East Lansing Township. Rob started this in the early 1980s. Rob was telling me he's been here basically his whole life. 61. And, this is his community. His family has gone to Smoketown Elementary. They live where the shop is. So I know, having dealt with elected officials for 25 years, it's these kinds of businesses they really like. Feels a little different if it's, a corporate company coming from out of state, but when it's a local business that does, I think, carry some weight. So of course, I think they like their location, they like the township, and they'd like to stay here. A lot's changed since 1983. They've become, a leader in archery. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. Normally, their retail, what they do on the technology front, but they're academy. They just, and I am not sure, but I know about Lancaster Archery. I mean, you just know about them. Of course, they've had success with those coming up through their academy, some Olympians, and both in the family. So, all that is, I think, this is a business that would really like to stay in the area, but they're out. And, they've had to move their distribution and warehouse over to the old, and, as township staff knows, they've been looking at all different options, that we've met with township staff about Smoketown Elementary School, but, the school district kind of went radio silence on us, we're sure what's going on over there. And they looked at other properties in the township and outside of the township, and it's tight. I mean, everybody knows it. And working with other property owners and businesses, yeah, I said 5 years. Yeah, and they've had a couple properties under agreement, but when you kick the tires, you look at the zoning, you look at the costs, it's just like, maybe this isn't the right one. And so I think everybody's aware in Lancaster County right now, commercial, industrial property, it's tight. So we were talking where we're going, and I think it was Carol said, we live here, we have a pretty large lot. What if we would potentially just try and expand where we're at? Which, if you can do that, that always makes a lot of sense. You don't have acquisition costs, you go into a new property. But as you can see, and these pictures here, I mean, I'm going to quickly just highlight, but they employ 150 employees that, not just the retail store. Yeah.
We have about 8 full-time workers.
Yeah.
In East Lansing Township, approximately.
But I mean, I think you can see the pictures, you know what they do. I think they're an asset to the community. But what I'd like to do is just direct your attention to these 2 pages kind of here at the back. The one is showing the blow up of the zone. The second one, I think, is probably clear since why here. So right in the property where the pro shop is on, and what is it, Uncle somebody place. Those are 2 separate parcels, both owned by Lancaster Archery, and the academy and pro shop kind of have a upside down L that goes around the back. I put a line there to show you that the light industrial zoning district ends there and then goes east. And it covers, if you look at the the larger map, I think it goes up to the old Locust Grove Mennonite Squad. I'm not sure if that's light industrial or not, but, so there's a number of properties there. And then it transitions to R2, which is the property where Rob and Carol live, which conceptually would be where they would expand. And so in having some brief conversations with township staff, it seemed like from a planning standpoint, extending an existing zoning district is usually better than, say, plopping a new zoning district right there. A little bit of the dilemma there is light industrial doesn't fit the existing retail and pro shop really well. But I think, you know, there's some ways we could maybe not just rezone, but add some text to the light industrial that allows for existing, this would be a non-conforming use because it's been there since the 80s. But so not to get too much into zoning weeds, there's probably a way to navigate this so it doesn't look like there's a separate spot, you know, never like spot zoning of something different there. So what I would recommend is if there's a willingness and an openness to consider this, that it would likely be a rezone to light industrial to extend the district with some language that would allow retail sales to be part of what they're doing here, but done in a way that it doesn't open your light industrial up to retail sales. Of course, you know, if it's not a retail sales zoning district, so you need to think through that carefully. So that would require a lot of discussion with township staff and just being sure that it's done in the right way. But that's just a long way of saying they think it's possible that this could work, and that was the plan that looks like this, and they haven't engaged an engineer. This is just
It's one of the archers that's been shooting at our facility for ever since our kids, you know, she's their city maintenance archers. Her father does some, you know, theory work, so he, you know, is nice enough to kind of help us out with a drawing that we could hopefully show you what we were envisioning.
yes.
I'd like to also, that we currently have a situation where 2195, Carol and my residence, 2195 is our residence. 2195A is Lancaster Mercury, and 2195B is on Illyrians. Everybody gets everybody else's pay, which can be problematic. Bills and checks. This would clean that up. The Postal Service, we thank you.
So the concept would be to take these three separate properties, consolidate them into a single property. And are you thinking that you keep your existing pro shop and expand it, or would it be a new?
Yeah. Vision it today, the existing pro shop that sits on the road would turn into the academy. Because it already has ranges built into it, and actually when we expanded upstairs to downstairs, there's already a range, second floor and first floor. So it's an easy conversion into just academy space. And then we would build a new pro shop closer to the road so that we could benefit from the road frontage and you know, people being able to recognize.
Out toward all the Leroy's.
Now that's not written in stone because of course we would, you know, we had someone who was knowledge of this, but we have an engineer look at stormwater management or bigger picture on options. He was just trying to make sure that we could fit what we wanted to do on the streets.
We've got 174 parking spaces planned, which is way over double what we're doing. We have currently 84.
Yeah. We haven't run the analysis requirements. You have an academy with ranges there. So, you know, we would probably want to do some of that due diligence just to be sure that we don't go down the path of rezoning and find it's just not feasible. So
the academy space is 100% green space.
right. Yeah. So that you'll have at least not that obvious, but I think from just one procedural standpoint, we just felt like it would be helpful to hear if there's any feedback on if this is something that the board would be willing to consider. And again, you know, I never ask anyone to say, yes, I would vote for this because you don't have really any idea what ultimately would be. But it is helpful if there is no interest, because then that just saves us a lot of time and money, and we know to keep looking somewhere else. I think, you know, based on, oh, you looked at the Prince property too. I mean, they've been looking at all things, but you know, you start getting a traffic
What property
engineer.
was that?
Fritz property.
Yeah,
We were at the auction, the fruits farm.
yeah. But I'll make a left-hand turn.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just,
We,
after the top, that's the top, and you don't buy something at auction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in any event, they, you know, they've really been looking, I think this provides an opportunity that, you know, they could move forward with their plans. And,
Keep in mind, we would be sacrificing our home.
No, you're gonna expand your commute time.
yeah,
Where are you gonna live?
stay close to the business, and we also commute over some distribution center. But we do have a property at 2193, which is right next to us, and we also purchased the Whitmer property, which is down about 2, 3, 4
Jay Whitmer.
Jay Whitmer's attached lot there. So we have options of what we can do for
I still love it.
the shop. And
happy to take any questions if there are any, or, you know, any concerns.
So the vision for what you're talking about, Dwight, would require the demolition of the home.
yes, it would.
Yes, it would.
And yeah, and all of the accessory residential, it would,
The barn,
everything
the
goes.
garage.
I mean, it's tight even with using that pool. I mean, you can see. I'm a big believer when you have land zone for commercial industrial use, you maximize it. I just cannot understand why certain municipalities allow 40% lot coverage in their industrial. It's just like, but use it, right? I mean, save the farmland, but you don't need green space on the industrial land. So I think it's actually part of the reason I provided this kind of pullback is it is a transition zone. There are other businesses there. Granted, when you go west, you're running into some residential homes. Rob and Carol do own
First one, Abe soon, two.
yeah, so I think they're really sensitive to their neighbors. They've been there, they're good neighbors. They don't impose some new facility on a next door neighbor that's going to be like this. But I think generally, from a planning standpoint, there's some merit to what's being proposed because it is an extent to that zoning district versus, you know, that's completely incompatible with the uses.
But like all of the construction and parking lot, any disturbance would be on the Uncle Leroy's end of the property, not on the west side.
Well, you have to put parking.
That's it.
The house would come down.
Yep.
The barn would go and you'd be.
Everything would go.
So you obviously you're used to the traffic. Seasonal and daytime concentrations and things of that nature. But the cars, the vehicles that would be coming to you are essentially
Yes. In no trucks. Because
real kind of trucks.
We,
I know that other development has been proposed there. There were studies and it's quite busy and I don't know how much changes in your exit and entrance would be, but essentially it's more room for customers
Yeah, we would like to utilize the existing entrances and exits.
But like all of our shipments come to Leola, you know, to that distribution center. And then we have a van that you may occasionally see on the road that travels between the two locations, and they pick up what we stop at this location.
Deliver it
And
to-
We're willing to invite, I don't know if the other gentlemen on the board have been. One of the coolest places I've been.
we love to capture the interest of other people so that they enjoy our trip.
The kids in the community certainly enjoy having, you know, us there. And the neighbors, we get along with our neighbors. You know, we've been there for 40 years.
Hours of operation and days a week.
Yes, sure. Yes, days.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are 9 to 8. 9 to 6 on Tuesdays and Fridays, and 8 to 4 on Saturday.
Again, pretty reasonable hours for neighbors. You're not having really looking.
I'm just a little, trying to make sure our trade is just stayed, we can't go anywhere.
We did that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking comment. I would not want to see Lancaster Supply leave East Lampeter Township. I'd love to have the warehouse from Upper Lake House in East Lampeter Township, but I don't think you're ever going to find space to put that up anytime soon. Sure you have. I'm sure you have. I don't have any concerns. I'm looking forward to seeing this plan.
No concerns.
Definitely no concerns. The only suggestions I would make, and it depends on timing, but clearly the light industrial area is spot zoned and isn't accurate to the buildings that are already there being used. And maybe look at expanding the Village General out from Smoketown. There's a lot of businesses along there that would fit right into sort of a village zone, mixed use. That fits that area a little better.
I hadn't thought about the mixed use because it has the retail and the residential component, which seems like a little better fit for what they're
You
doing.
just keep going west out there and you've got, you
Yeah.
know, car repair shops, you've got built, so there's 3 or 4 retail places that are either in an ag zone or residential 2 zone that don't make any sense. And it's one of really looking at maybe expanding that Village General and some Village Residential to sort of expand that village concept. It'd be my recommendation to staff to look at, how do we look at all those properties together? But I think it makes perfect sense to have this here.
The only thing that I've run into in the past is if you don't have those other property owners kind of on board, then it's not something that we can request. It has to come from the township in terms of a broader rezone, which, you know, certainly we wouldn't oppose, but I don't know, you know, some of those property owners, I don't know what they do, but they might like the light industrial in terms of their properties. But I do agree with exactly what you just said, that ideally, you know, maybe a mixed use or a commercial zoning, and depending on how it's done, you might be able to still just do the archery site, because it's not spot zoning when you are trying to align the zoning with an existing use. So I think arguably if you did a mixed use zone there to bring the existing archery business into conformity with the zoning and then did the one beside it, I haven't doubt anybody's going to challenge it, but you know, those are things to think about, and we certainly would be really staff. By the way, excellent staff here. I enjoy working with them, and so be happy to do that.
So what I'm hearing is, board is encouraged by the vision. Obviously, we haven't seen any plan quite, you know.
Understood.
Got a lot of work to do, but, you know, we've heard the potential that there may be some interest in having a discussion. This may go a little bit further. The village commercial, the mixed use as well. But I think I'm not hearing any serious objections so far to the idea. Staff, anything to add to that at this point? So,
All right, we'll proceed and, depending on staff's input, maybe we'll come back with one or two options and get some more feedback and see where the board would like to go with it. So that really your call.
that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwight. Appreciate it.
If I'm an objection. At first in the greenhouse, his son is interested in carrying the business on. And the way Carol, the children are carrying the business on, so we're looking 62 up there. But the kids are also investing in the business as well, taking it to the next generation.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Item number 7. 7 is our action item. 7A. Authorization to sign the GP 11 permit in relation to the Ben Franklin Road Bridge.
You may recall that bridge was built some time ago, and permitting that was necessary was all done. The development company High to put the bridge there and do the stream corridor improvements that was required. So, in order to ultimately transfer the bridge to the township needs to have permit to get in there to maintain the bridge as needed in the future. So that portion of the permitting they transferred to the township so that in the future, when the bridge is dedicated to the township, we can get in there and maintain it. Not sure how long the permit transfer process will take, but if the board authorizes it, we'll get that submitted and proceed in that direction.
So this would really tie Ben Franklin all the way, the Wall Street extension and really, move us further and further towards the vision we've had for a number of years there. So, okay, is there a motion to authorize to sign the GP 11 permit?
Make a motion to authorize to sign the GP 11 permit for Ben Franklin Road Bridge maintenance.
Second. Yeah, motion by Corey, second by Mike. Questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? 7B, the consultant selection for the housing plan. Ralph.
We're gonna let Tara speak to this.
8 applicants through the RFP process. We had a selection committee that consisted of Corey Mueller, the board supervisor. Township staff was Colin Cecils and myself. And then we had a representative from Lancaster Redevelopment and Housing Authority, as well as a representative from the Planning Commission. After we added all of the scores together that we had in the RFP to score those, we had 2 that came in at exactly the same number. And so I went back to the selection committee and determined that the consultant with the most number ones, basically high scores, was the one that would be chosen, and that's forward planning. So we would ask the board to award the housing study to forward planning.
Thoughts, response, Corey?
The RFP process was well run, great feedback. We all reviewed all the RFPs and then we jumped on a call and discussed all of them. A lot of consistency in the conversation. Tara is always so helpful because she knows a lot of the players. We see resumes of the team members we'd be working with and references and so forth, and just do a really good ethical job of picking our vendors, which I'm always proud of. So I think Todd's on the phone. I'm not sure if he's from Forward. Yeah, but we haven't voted yet. But
Yes, I'm on the phone.
I
Questions, concerns, thoughts for Corey? Anybody? Staff, Karen? No?
I skimmed all the RFPs and thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion? Sounds like we've got a recommendation for a consultant, so we're going to move forward.
Motion to award planning as the consultant for our housing plan.
Motion by Mike, second by Ethan. Questions? Okay, hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Great, motion carries. Like to see this. This is a really very good thing for the community. And I really appreciate staff continuing to move forward. And even though we had the County and Housing Redevelopment Authority is talking about perhaps doing something like this, we're getting out of the gates. We're doing something, on our own. And I think what's that?
Yeah, and they were involved in
And they're involved, absolutely. I think, they see the value in it. And I think, it speaks to, our commitments leading into the budget process at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and wanting to prioritize this. And I think it's in line with many, many other things that we're doing as a township, as a board. So I really appreciate everyone's support. Thank you, Court, for serving on the committee. So. Todd, did you want to address the board at all?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you very much. We're very pleased and honored to be selected. And if you don't know, we most recently did a very similar analysis for the city of Lancaster. So that, gives us an ability to hit the ground running. We interviewed a lot of housing developers, including nonprofit housing developers. A lot of the folks you'd want us to talk to, we've already established relationships with. And we certainly have a good understanding of the region because of that study. So we're very pleased that we were selected, and certainly anxious to work with all of you and your staff.
Great. Thank you, Todd. Looking forward to it. The synergies with our neighbors is always a good thing. I think this is a board and a body and a community that's always looked to be working collaboratively with our neighbors. So we appreciate that, and everything you and your staff gain from that will only be a benefit to the residents and the businesses of East Lampeter Township. So looking forward to it. Anything else, gentlemen? Comments?
But I appreciate you being on the call tonight, because I didn't even tell Todd that he was the top runner.
Good. Well, that's great. Appreciate your interest, Todd. Okay, take care. We'll be talking with you, Todd.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Okay, moving on, 7C, an agreement in reference to the stream bank restoration and riparian buffer project at the Hack campus on Old Philadelphia Pike. Ralph.
Staff's been working on this project for a while, and it is one of our pollution reduction plan projects. Got to the point now where the design has been completed, permitting has been completed, and we have bids in hand, which the sewer authority will be considering at their meeting on Wednesday. We need an agreement between all three parties, the authority, the township, and HAC, in order to get all of this done and have the appropriate amount of crediting in our support program given the township. And so that's the township's role in this agreement. We are still working through pieces of the agreement, and want to make sure that all the attorneys who are involved are satisfied with it. Because of the timing and where we are with the bidding and such, we would ask that you take action subject to the solicitor's review and approval. It's a great project, and we look forward to moving forward.
Excellent. Excellent. Questions? Anyone? They're great project. Unknown tributary. Unnamed tributary. Unnamed tributary. We only use the word tributary, so we're gonna have to come up with a name. We gotta name it. There's one along Strasburg Pike that's
Flowering Run.
No, there's one along Strasburg Pike too. We gotta come up with this. There's a lot of tributaries. Hey, listen, we should start a competition or something. In our next newsletter, Everybody interested in the survey, we can get people interested in stream bank naming.
DEP involved.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, you just get.
Hey, on the agreement, it's listing us as a first-class township. I'm sure if that's. Okay, yeah, it's on the.
We are a first-class township, but
I never.
To say, or
Small caps.
Yeah, it's on the, public.
Just a quick question. So, again, from my lack of experience with it, so being constructed by the sewer authority through the stormwater fund, is that just one of the ways that projects like this would be done through the stormwater? Could there be another entity that's doing the work, or is it because the sewer authority is capable and has the experience to do it?
well, when we set up the fee structure, all of the storm water system was conveyed from the township to the authority. So they actually own the stormwater system in the township. So as the owner, they are the appropriate ones to complete these projects. Now we're also in the midst of another way to get projects done with I2 Capital. You heard their presentation. So that will again be funded by the stormwater fund, which is under the authority's jurisdiction, if you will. But the township's involved in that to make sure that the MS4 crediting gets, it is a little bit.
Yeah.
So through the authority, the hiring of contractors, whomever they need. So
Correct. We have entered into an agreement when the system was conveyed, we entered into an agreement that the township maintains their system, but they own it. It's very similar to the sanitary system. They own it, we maintain it.
Good, Mike?
We set the fees.
thank you.
We set the fees,
Fees.
right?
Sanitary, not for storm.
Not for stormwater.
The authority sets the fee structure for the stormwater fee.
Good? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Because it's a fee, it's not a tax.
Right.
There you go. Okay,
Right.
and the authority has to handle it because
Right.
they can't take.
Okay.
Okay. Good, Mike. All right. Ralph. Okay, so we need approval of the agreement.
And we recommend it subject to the solicitor's final review.
Becoming a first rate, but a second class township.
Motion to approve the agreement regarding the stream bank restoration, repair and buffer project as presented and conditioned on review and approval of the township solicitor.
Motion by Ethan, is there a second? Second by Roger. Questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. 7D, arrangements in reference to residents of East Lampeter Township using the Manheim Township Compost Park Facility. We got it back. Oh, there we go.
So, the Manheim Township has opened up that possibility that our residents can go back to using their compost facility. The system that's going to be in place will be people who want them will have to come in here. We will issue a card, looks like this, it's numbered. And we'll have to give that information to Manheim Township. But then when they go over to the facility, they'll have to present this card so that Manheim Township knows that they're an East Lampeter Township resident or authorized. And then follow all the same Manheim Township resident rules, regulations, fees to use the facility. And we would like to recommend charging $5 to our residents to issue one of these. Replacement would be the same, $5.
Are the rates the same for East Lampeter resident, not for the card, but for the actual dumping of
They will,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they've gone back to a system where they have an attendant
Yeah.
there at the site. So to show them this, they have a handheld. device
It's
to-
changed over.
Yes, they're no longer doing cash.
Used to do, so prior to this weekend, you could just go with a credit card
Mhm.
and select whatever you you believed you had in your vehicle. And you didn't, there's no proof of residency at all. So it's pretty easy to just take a load in until Saturday when I took some in.
So am I correct, when Manheim Township established this facility in this location, they received state dollars to do this, did they not?
A lot of state grant funding, recycling state grant funding went into that facility.
So, the residents of East Lampeter are going to benefit from their tax dollars or state tax dollars that went into this. And obviously, putting back in a minor amount and whatever that costs to dump there. As a member of the County Solid Waste Authority, I spent last week at an international waste expo. And boy, you just can't imagine the communities that really push composting. And I was talking about this, and people were quite interested. Wow, you actually have something like this? Well, not like it's our neighbors. So it was, really a very hot topic.
Can you just go over it again? Is it one $5 card for how long?
As long as they continue the program.
It just shows that you're a resident who's allowed to use the compost facility.
Okay, and in terms of the amount that you could take? How does that, as much as you want?
You pay per load. It's like you get a pickup truck load, trailer load,
Yeah.
and bags,
Okay,
different fee.
so volume has fee rate as you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's what the individual at the entrance is managing that.
15 years ago, I took a Christmas tree, I think, there, but I've forgotten how they're all working it.
It's
So,
about $15 for a pickup truck load,
okay.
or it was.
It's really very modest. Okay, good, Mike. Questions? Okay. Questions, concerns? Rob, go ahead, Sam.
No, just.
You need a motion?
Yeah. Arrangements that we had outlined are acceptable. We have to be.
You're approving the arrangements. Township compost park facility, and thank Manheim Township for this as well. To both of them.
Motion by Corey, second by Roger. Questions? Okay, hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Managing report, Ralph, 8A.
Yes, as the board is aware, we went forward with the community survey and we'll have a speak where we are with it so far.
So when I sent you the results, we had 89 survey participants. So at this rate, by the end of the year, we might have enough. So really get out there and tell the other residents to take the survey as much as possible. We're getting a lot of good feedback in the last 2 comments. However, you can see that we're reaching only not as diverse a group of residents as we should be. So we have some ideas of how to change that. We put this on Facebook. We put it on the PD Facebook page. We've put it in the newsletter. We got quite a number of increased survey respondents after the newsletter. It's been on our website. So the next step, we're going to ask the school district to send it out. However, we're going to get other responses.
Which is fine. But definitely get it on the school district newsletter. I mean, they're constantly communicating, so they're.
We also sent it to Hi, so that they can send it to both their tenants and residents. And then we've contacted the local HOAs so that it can go out through them as well.
What do you think about Greenfield, their organization? Of the industrial park? I mean, I realize there's only a certain number that live there.
Right, so Hi is able to send
Right.
leaseholds as well as their.
So Corey, I know it's 3 months away or something, but National Night Out, when Lafayette, all the fire companies open with rock
QR code.
that would put a table and
Yeah.
a white umbrella up or something, or, white tent up and just whatever we can do.
Right.
That's like it.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you, Tara, for keep pressing forward with it.
And what was our time frame again?
Well, it's still open. Until we have,
I mean, you need the critical mass.
89 is not enough, not when we have 17,000 plus residents.
400 be good.
People are really paying attention to the school district information as school is starting, but I realize that's.
Yeah. Okay, good, thank you. Ralph, thank you, Stella.
Yes.
Okay, 7B.
Yeah, as everybody's aware, the Warren Street Extension and Munster Pathway Project continues. Construction continues well. Are on schedule. I think that will be completed in fall. Got some, video. Want to share that if you haven't seen it. It's intriguing. We have been working on what additional amenities we want to add to the trail in terms of benches, dog waste stations, trash cans, all of which are going to need PennDOT approval. So we're in the process of making that request of PennDOT, and so everything hopefully will be in place when it will.
There'll be some sort of ribbon cutting place event.
I'm confident that they'll
I will organize that mostly, or
Make it full contact.
If I can do them.
we'll work with them to
yeah,
make sure.
great.
You bring the goats out,
You should do goat yoga on the goat path. Amish farm don't play that.
Yeah, so this is going from like Willow Road towards Route 30.
It was good. I mean, everybody down liked it.
You're getting closer to the bridge location where the bridge carries both facilities over top.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pathway is hard to see the work because it's kind of so close when you're down there. I kind of just noticed the road work. That's neat.
Yeah, you see the path, Mike, out to your left there? Yeah, yeah.
And the golf course is on the
Yep.
right side. Club apartments on the left.
Is this on the website?
It's on Facebook.
Go to the Heinz website and find it. Heinz website? Well, I mean, they had it on social media too.
Getting down closer to Route 30, you can kind of see the Route 30 traffic there. And the amount of stone that's been generated by,
I know.
they blasted out.
I know. That's amazing. Reused all that stone.
Significant cut there.
And then this turns and comes back. Yeah, I thought that was good to see that too. So Country Club Apartments to your right there.
Mhm.
And that's the bike path on your right, Roger. Yeah.
So as far as the blasting went successfully, not
Yeah, I don't think we got any complaints
know what they're doing.
about the blasting or the crushing. I mean, where they had the crusher set up really muffled all the noise down in that cut.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? As long as you come up to the bridge. Up to the bridge here.
And this is about a month old. In terms of time, so there's more work that's been completed.
Also the bridge there.
Across the bridge, and they've done a little bit more on this section.
Okay.
Getting some curb forward, and setting up the stone. And then I thought the black that they were showing up there was actual paving, but it's not. It's the plastic fabric.
Oh, they put it in base.
So.
Oh, yes.
That's what I will too. Yeah.
It's not paved, that's-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the
roundabout, and then the parking area, the trailhead area.
Right there. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
She's got a question. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how will get across Millcrest, as I don't see any evidence from the drone. I just see the bridge, so what's the plan?
Go ahead, Ralph.
Route?
They'll be on the bridge, so.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
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 It's a separated.
Would be on the bridge.
dangerous to me. You say separate, some kind of railing at least.
I think it's actually, for lack of a better term, a Jersey barrier, type of separation.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite standard in bike paths and things like that. So. Where do you live?
Thank you.
Where do you live?
Eden Manor. We're not township residents, but
Well,
we
that's
take an interest because we live here.
You're right there.
We do a lot of business in this area.
Really?
And we bird watch and hike on the Hack campus, so we were interested in that. This one.
Well, this is all, I mean, all that's gonna be connected. You're gonna, eventually this is all gonna be connected. So you're gonna have a great, you have a great
So we're
neighborhood.
Following this, we didn't know until I saw it in the paper about the fixing up of the stream. It could use some help, so hopefully more trees.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
gonna be a lot of.
It's gonna be the Ralph Hutchinson tributary.
So any updates on the US Open or the golf tournament? Any planning updates?
We've had one meeting so far,
Yeah.
and out of that meeting, my expectation is that the next time we'll get together to really get more deeply into the planning, probably late summer, early fall.
Okay.
Yeah, the connections there and
Okay. Anything else, folks? Did you have anything else before the board? It's okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Corey, second by Ethan. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 8:46.